The laughing Buddha, known as budai in Chinese folklore, was a wandering monk who roamed ancient China, spreading joy and laughter wherever he went. His rotund figure, bald head, and ever-smiling face made him an endearing presence in the lives of those he encountered. Legend says he carried a large cloth sack over his shoulder, filled with gifts for children, food for the hungry, and treasures of small but meaningful value for the poor. Despite his humble attire and lack of material wealth, Budai possessed an extraordinary ability to uplift spirits, his laughter resonating like a melody of pure happiness that could pierce through the darkest clouds of despair. No one knew much about his origins. Some said he was a celestial being sent to the mortal realm to teach the essence of contentment. Others whispered that he was an enlightened soul who had transcended worldly concerns. Regardless of his past, his presence was a blessing to the weary and the downtrodden. His sack was said to be magical, never empty, always filled with the precise needs of those he met, be it a morsel of food for the starving, a coin for the impoverished, or even a simple toy for a crying child. But more than the gifts he gave, it was his laughter that truly transformed lives. Budai's laugh was no ordinary chuckle. It was deep, hearty, and infectious, a sound that seemed to carry the wisdom of the universe and the simplicity of a carefree spirit. People would gather around him, drawn by the sheer joy radiating from his being, and within moments, their burdens seemed lighter, their troubles less dire. He often spoke in riddles, his words carrying profound truths cloaked in simplicity. "The heaviest thing you carry," he would say with a wink, "is your unhappiness. Let it go, and you'll float like a feather." Many mistook him for a fool, a simpleton who found humor in the mundane, but those who listened closely realized that his laughter was an invitation to see the world differently. One tale tells of a village struck by a long drought, its fields parched and its people desperate. Budai arrived, sitting beneath a tree, laughing as if the very idea of suffering were a jest. At first, the villagers were angered by his apparent indifference, but soon they noticed something extraordinary. Children, inspired by his laughter, began to play again, their carefree joy spreading to the adults. Neighbors who had quarreled over scarce resources started sharing what little they had, and the village, though still without rain, found a new resilience. When the rains finally came, the villagers credited Budai's laughter for breaking the spell of despair that had bound them. Despite his light-hearted demeanor, Budai was a man of profound compassion. Once he encountered a wealthy merchant who was consumed by greed, hoarding riches yet finding no happiness. Budai handed the merchant a single grain of rice from his sack and told him, "This is worth more than all your treasures if shared with love." The merchant, puzzled but intrigued, began to give his wealth to those in need, discovering in their gratitude a joy that gold could never buy. Budai's life was a continuous journey, and he never stayed in one place for too long. He would arrive unannounced and depart just as mysteriously, leaving behind only the echoes of his laughter and the warmth of his presence. Over time, stories of his deeds spread far and wide, and he became a symbol of abundance, happiness, and the unyielding power of kindness. People began to regard him as a manifestation of Maitreya, the future Buddha who is prophesied to bring universal peace. Whether or not he truly was a divine being, Budai's legacy endures, reminding us that the simplest joys, the kind word, the shared laugh, the act of giving, are the greatest treasures of all. His laughter still reverberates through time, a gentle nudge to lighten our hearts and embrace the boundless beauty of life.